What is going on, guys? Grave here. Today I'd like to talk about guilds inside of the Elder Scrolls Online. And this has been kind of a topic over the last several years within the community. They even had a guild summit this year to talk about guilds with people within the community. Also, the studio director's letter that Matt Faror put out at the beginning of the year even mentioned having changes to the guild system, ways they need to tweak it, and just kind of in general idea of saying, hey, we know that this needs some fixes. But overall, I feel like there's several things that could be added to it personally for me that I think would help it. Of course, I know everybody has their different opinions, so let's go ahead and hop into those things that I would like to see kind of incorporated into the guild system overall. Number one being a search option. There is no way to search a guild by name, and that is very annoying. It is even kind of weird on console when you go in, let's say you want to just search a social guild, for example, or a trading guild, for example. So you just pick that kind of out of the search criteria that we do have available to us. It pulls a lot of the same guilds in both of those options. So you might see trading guilds within inside of the social option, or social guilds being brought up in the trader option. So to me, it's just not very well done. It pulls a lot of the same guilds. You don't see all the guilds out there that are available. So I think having a guild name search would be great for someone that knows the guilds they want to join, or have friends in it or something like that, or have heard of guilds in the past, whatever the case may be. If they just want to go in and search a guild's name, they could do that. I'm going to do a shameless plug here. If you are on PlayStation and you're looking for a guild on the North American server, leave me a comment down in the comment section. I do have a guild myself on PlayStation if you would like to join. Now, when it comes to another thing that I think that really needs to be added in there is something for new players. A lot of new players do not have a clue about the guild system in general. It's like it's not even a thing that's ever mentioned. And I feel like the new players need some type of way to be introduced into guilds, not just trading, not just guilds in general. I know a lot of people use guilds for trading. There's a lot of guilds out there that are also just social guilds, role-playing guilds, in-game trial guilds, whatever the case may be. But I think there needs to be something added in for new players so they actually understand what guilds are. The only way a new player really is introduced to guilds, in my opinion, is unless they know someone that's in one, a friend or something like that, would be seeing it posted in maybe the chat, the zone chat for, recruitment. So I think that would be a great idea as well. I think guilds need to be more about community. I understand that there's trading guilds, in-game guilds, stuff like that. I think it all needs to be worked on as a whole, just to be more community involved. Make them, trading communities. You want in-game communities. You want social communities. You want role-playing communities. Whatever your guild is, I do believe that the game could do a better or do things better, I guess, about making it more about community in general. Because a lot of people, like I said, just think of guilds and they think, oh, trader guilds, and that's it. I don't really want to trade, or I'm not into that kind of thing. But that's not really the only options we have. And I think you could add more community aspects to guilds no matter what type they are. Some people have recommended and talked about this over the years of having like events and things, whether it be the option to have like an event calendar for every guild so they can have their own in-guild kind of events. But I would even like to see maybe some type of option added in for, a couple times a month if you do certain things with guild members, whether it be just base adventuring, dungeons, trials, whatever. You might get some type of in-game bonuses, extra XP, whatever the case could be there, or whatever they could think of, to give kind of players an option to, hey, if I'm in a guild, I gain, this stuff that's not available really unless you're in a guild. Some kind of incentive for people to, join guilds, but also give, just the guild owners options to have, things that where they can have their own calendar if they want to do in-guild events. But I do think having some type of in-game event for guilds would be a really unique thing as well. Some people have talked about higher player amounts. You only can have 500 players in a guild. I think this mainly is probably going to be more for trader guilds. I know they have a lot of people that come into trader guilds, and sometimes it's hard to keep that player cap, down. They have enough people in there that are doing whatever they require you to do, but you have new people wanting to join. You can't really do that. So I think having a higher player count would be great for that. I'm not sure if it's going to be something that everyone wants, depending on what type of guild you own, but it is a good idea. I think also there should be an option for, kind of going with the trader guild idea, guild bank upgrades. I think that the guild bank needs to have a higher amount of items you can place in it, because if you are in a trading guild and you're owning a trading guild, there's a lot of stuff that you get donated and things like that, that it kind of comes down to there's not enough space to have all of those things placed in the bank that you have available to you. So being able to upgrade that guild bank, like I said, with in-game gold would be a great thing. That's also something, if the players are donating gold, you can take that and say, hey, this is going to go towards a new guild bank upgrade, whatever kind of idea that ZOS can come up with. And the main thing, and I've talked about this in a separate video years ago, is actual guild halls. We all use player houses for your guild house. I think it would be a great thing, since housing is so big in ESO, to actually have houses that are dedicated guild halls. That way no one person owns it. If the guild changes hands, if the owner of the guild quits playing, or if the person that has the guild house in the guild leaves, you're not going to have access to those homes. So I think it would be a very unique, neat thing to have actual guild halls, to where if people want to put Mundus stones, want to put crafting tables, those can be donated to the guild in general from anyone, and you're always going to have access to that as long as you're in that guild. And if someone leaves, it's not going to be their player house is tied to that. So, for example, if you were in my guild and I decided, hey, I don't want to do this anymore, I'm not going to play anymore, you leave the guild and quit playing the game, the guild house that I had is not available to players inside of that guild, because it's my own personal player home. If you had a way to have actual guild halls in the game, so it's owned really by the guild and players can add things to it, maybe even have options where more players within the guild can decorate it how they want. I think that would be a really unique thing. A lot of other games have guild halls in them. A lot of other MMOs, RPGs, where you can do lots of different stuff. You upgrade guild halls, or they have guild events inside of the guild halls. There's just a lot of things that older and newer RPGs and MMOs have done that I think ZOS could implement inside of guilds within the Elder Scrolls Online. There's just a lot of options out there, and hopefully we will see something added in eventually. With the studio director's letter this year talking about them wanting to upgrade stuff within guilds and change the way they work, and also having that kind of guild summit, I was hoping we might see a bit more by now involving guilds, maybe after update 46 is released here on console, and of course it's been out for a week on PC. Maybe once they're past that point, they're going to start working on more of this stuff. I kind of have a feeling going forward, since we're going away from the chapters, I mentioned this in several videos, we're going to get more of a kind of back-end fix, changing stuff within game, doing updates with stuff we already have available to us. And that's kind of how they want to move forward for a time being. And that's fine with me, as long as it's things that the community is wanting. I don't think anyone really has an issue with that, personally, of fixing and doing things that we already have available to us, but making them better. And guilds would be one that I would really like to see on that list. Leave me a comment with your thoughts. Let me know what you think. What would you like to see added to the guild system? And if you like the video, hit the like. If you have not subscribed yet, please do so. And I'll catch you next time. Peace.